What's up, everybody? Welcome to the In Love with Horror podcast. We are your hosts. I'm AJ.
And I'm Christy. Join us for a love affair with all things horror as we explore the world of horror films, games, and everything in between.
All right, y'all. We got a great episode today. We're, of course, going to be talking about the new trailers that dropped this week. We got the official trailer, finally, for the American Horror Story Delicate. And then we also got a new film from Eli Roth called Thanksgiving. We'll be talking about that as well. And then, of course, for news, man, we got some kind of interesting and weird news. We're getting more of the nursery rhyme movies coming in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, Three Blind Mice, and Mary Had a Little Lamb. They all got movies coming out. Then, of course, Saw 10 dropped some new images and a poster. Then we got the Crow reboot we're going to be talking about. And then, of course, the Stranger Trilogy. Stay tuned for that because that's coming in 2024. And then for the main topic today, y'all, we're going to be doing a spoiler review of The Nun 2. So make sure you stick around because all that and more is coming on the In Love with Horror podcast. All right, y'all. Now, of course, as we always do before we jump into the trailers to drop this week, we are going to talk about what we watched this week. Now, I know that you did not get the chance to watch anything, baby, so I'll skip you and I'll just jump right into what I watched this week. And I watched the recent film that came out, I believe, around the summertime, and that was Cobweb. So I got a chance to watch that this past week. And let me give you the synopsis for anyone who's not familiar with what Cobweb is. So the synopsis reads, young Peter is plagued by a mysterious constant noise from inside his bedroom wall. A tapping his parents insist is in his imagination. As his fear intensifies, he starts to believe that his parents are hiding a terrible and dangerous secret. Now, that synopsis is pretty vague, but I think it has to be because of the nature of the film. Like, I can't even really give any details without spoiling the film. I definitely think it's a film you just gotta just click play and just watch. And with that being said, I thought the movie was okay. I thought the concept was really good, but the execution was not that great. There was some kind of dumb plot decisions, some dumb plot points. But the ending of the film, that the main part of the third act was really cool. Like, once all things have been revealed, like from that point on, I think the movie gets, extremely interesting. But they kind of fumbled the elements of the film leading up to the big reveal moment and then what plays out afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I thought the performances were pretty good in this film. And the effects are actually really good too. But ultimately, the concept was not executed very good. It was just kind of disappointing because the concept is, I think kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you didn't watch this yet, but you just kind of watched a review on it though, right?
Yeah, I haven't actually watched it.
Yeah. I think that you would find it interesting, but I think you'd probably be on my same page. You'd be looking at it, questioning some of the choices in the movie. So I don't even think it'd be worth your time to watch it, honestly. Just because I know how you are, and I feel like you'd probably walk away not really liking it. Yeah, but for our viewers, check out Cobweb. Watch the trailer, and if you like the trailer, give the movie a chance because you might like it. But that's what we watched this week. Well, what I watched this week. Now we'll jump into all the good new horror trailers that dropped this week, y'all. Starting off with the official trailer for American Horror Story Delicate. So we finally got like an actual trailer, like from scenes of the show, because we got like the teaser trailers that were like music videos, essentially, very like artistic pieces. But now we're getting like the actual show itself and seeing, what the show looks like, what the vibe is like, and a glimpse of what the story is. Now, if you're not familiar with what American Horror Story Delicate is, let me read you the synopsis for this new season. It reads, after multiple failed attempts of IVF, actress Anna Victoria Alcott wants nothing more than to start a family. As the buzz around her recent film grows, she fears that something may be targeting her in her pursuit of motherhood. And this, of course, is actually a part one for this season, but it will be streaming on Hulu and on FX on September 20th. So it's right around the corner, just a couple weeks away. Now, with this series, if you watch the trailer, I feel like it has that iconic tone that American Horror Story is known for. And it's got a lot of actors that are being brought back. We all love the actors and actresses that perform in the different seasons of the show. And a lot of the heavy hitters are back. One of the big ones being Emma Robertson. And I thought the trailer was. I thought it was okay. It deals with the idea that this facility that she got her IVF from maybe implanted something other than a human baby or something like that. That's the vibe we're kind of getting from the trailer. But honestly, I thought the trailer just kind of looked okay. I would definitely need to watch more of it. I like the ending of it. Like it kind of got a little, creepy with the missing mouth and the vomit coming out of the nurse's mouth. Like that kind of got weird, and I kind of like that part. But I just kind of thought it was okay. What'd you think about it, Ben?
I agree. I thought it was also okay. It didn't really entice me or excite me about watching this season. I'm already kind of like withdrawn from American Horror Story anyway.
Yeah.
So this trailer didn't really make me want to, get back into it.
Yep.
But I know people who are huge fans of it, and I'm sure they're really excited about it. I personally am just not. So it didn't really spark my interest.
Yeah, it didn't seem special. Like looking at the trailer.
Yeah. But Emma Roberts looks beautiful. Even Kim Kardashian, I thought she looked really, beautiful as well in the trailer. I was like, oh yeah, they look really nice. And the overall look looked really nice as well.
Yeah.
It just like the story itself just didn't really pull me, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. The trailer didn't do a good job of making the story interesting. And we've kind of seen like in other series, something similar play out with this whole IVF thing. So I feel like it's a storyline that's already kind of been done. So it's not like, it doesn't feel interesting. It's kind of like, we kind of seen this before. Especially if you're like a fan of the show Evil. But I don't know, you never know. Trailers sometimes just, don't do a show or a film justice. So I think it might be worth at least checking out maybe the first couple episodes to see if it's worth going through the whole part one of this season. But that, y'all, is the official trailer of American Horror Story Delicate. Now, moving on to the next trailer that we got this week, it was the second trailer for The Exorcist Believer. Now, if you are not familiar with The Exorcist Believer, let me read you the synopsis for this new Exorcist film. And it is a direct sequel to the original Exorcist film. Now, the synopsis for Believer reads, when his daughter Angela and her best friend and her friend Catherine show signs of demonic possession, it unleashes a chain of events that forces single father Victor Fielding to confront the nadir of evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris McNeil, the only person alive who's witnessed anything like it before. Now, this film is releasing in theaters on, I believe it's, I thought it was October 6th. Did they change it again?
No, you're right. It is.
Okay. Yep. So the Exorcist Believer is dropping in theaters on October 6th. Is being directed by David Gordon Green, who also assisted in writing it along with Scott Teems and Peter Sattler. It's starring Leslie Odom Jr., Ellen Bernstein, Ann Dowd, Lydia Jewett, and Olivia O'Neill. Now, if you go over on our YouTube channel, you'll see that I did a reaction to this trailer.
I didn't mean to laugh.
And what you say?
I didn't mean to laugh.
Oh, well, no, it is funny because boy, man, like people went in on the comments on that reaction, because to me, the trailer just doesn't make the movie look very interesting or exciting. It just looks very generic and basic to me. Now, that's not saying that the film doesn't have the potential to be better than what the trailers are portraying. And I think one of the comments on that reaction I did even mentioned that they supposedly saw a test screening and it's way better than the trailer and so on and so forth. So it's possible. I'm still going to give it a chance, but I don't know. I just thought that the trailer just won't doing it for me. And boy, the people in the comments, boy, they was coming for me. But hey, look, I got to keep it real, y'all. It is what it is. But what do you think about it, man?
Well, okay. Well, I will say that I think that the trailer was better than the first trailer that we watched.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see a little bit more of Chris McNeil, and I mean, I like her, so I mean, that was my favorite part of the trailer.
Yeah.
I feel like you feel. I don't really, and I even started questioning myself after so many people came at you. I was like, well, am I being too harsh? Like, am I looking at this through a biased eye or something like that? But yeah, I mean, it doesn't. And then we are going to be talking about The Nun 2 later, but even watching the trailer in the movie theater, I was like, okay, well, maybe it looks different on the big screen. And it doesn't to me.
No.
It still looks the same.
Still looks the same.
I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. It's just, I don't know what it is about it, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem. And a lot of people were like, well, you can't compare it to the first film. I'm not comparing it. I'm just looking at it as what it is, what they gave me. I'm looking at it, what I see with my own two eyes. It doesn't look that great of a trailer. That's all.
Yeah, and I kind of have a gripe with this concept of like, because a lot of people were saying that like, oh, you can't compare it to the original, but I'm like, it's not what you're supposed to do. This is a direct sequel to the original film. It's a continuation of the story. Like, why wouldn't I compare it to the film that came before it, especially if it's following a through storyline? Like that concept
Very
of like,
true.
well, you can't compare it. Like that doesn't make sense. It's like it's a sequel to this film,
right? Even this, what I was talking about, The Nun 2, right? Like a lot of people compare it to the first Nun. It's the same thing.
Yeah, naturally, you're like, oh yeah, this because it is a sequel. It is a part of the larger story of that series of films. Like, and it's very natural to compare it because I feel like that's what you're supposed to do. And the sequel's supposed to take the first film and elevate it and expound upon it. So, like, I don't know this idea of like, well, you can't compare it. Like, I'm like what? That doesn't make sense. But anyway, y'all, check out my reaction, and I'm very curious for our viewers and listeners. What are your thoughts on the second trailer and the overall marketing of the Exorcist Believer? Like, are you kind of like on our side, or is it kind of like it just not really doing a lot? Like, it looks very basic. But we'd love to discuss that with you in the comments. So drop your thoughts down in the comments. And moving on to the next trailer we got this week is for Eli Roth's new film, and that's the film Thanksgiving. Now, Thanksgiving, the synopsis reads, after a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving-inspired killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts, the birthplace of the infamous holiday. Just like I mentioned, it's being directed by Eli Roth, who's also writing it along with Jeff Rendell, who helped work on Cabin Fever. It's releasing in theaters on November 17th, and it stars Rick Hoffman, Gina Gershon, Patrick Dempsey, and Chris Sandiford. And Christy actually did a reaction to this film. You can find that on TikTok and our YouTube channel. So I'll let you go first, babe. What do you think about the Thanksgiving trailer?
I am super excited about watching this one. It looks like it's going to be a good time. Like, I like holiday horror movies anyway. Yeah. And, we have a lot of Christmas. We have a lot of, Valentine's Day. Yep. Obviously Halloween. So it's cool that, we'll finally have something for Thanksgiving. Like, it's so crazy. But yeah, watching the trailer, it's a teaser trailer. So it was like literally like a minute and some change. Yeah. I thought there were some good kills that we could see that are going to probably be in the movie. obviously I'm a big fan of Patrick Dempsey from Grey's Anatomy, so I was glad to see him in there. Well, yeah, it looks like it's gonna be good. I think it'll be a good time for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I actually agree 100%. I thought this movie looked like it really is going to be a good time. It's good to see Eli Roth back in the director's chair again, and I think this movie would just be like just a genuine, good slasher film. Like it looks like through and through like a classic slasher, and I like the concept of it, like you said, centering around Thanksgiving, because I don't think there's a film that centers around Thanksgiving at all. So to have a collection of films that can hit every holiday, I think is going to be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
But the trailer looked good. There was some good creative looking kills in there. It looks like it's going to be plenty gory slasher film, and all the performers in it look really good. And I think it's going to be a fun film. And this is one I didn't know was being created, so it was also like a kind of surprise for me, but a pleasant one. And I'm definitely excited to see more on Thanksgiving.
Well, I don't know. I personally don't remember this, but apparently back in 2007 there was something called Grindhouse. Do you remember that at all?
Grindhouse. I don't think I've ever seen that, but I think I'm familiar with the name.
Oh, okay. It's a project with Quentin Tarantino and somebody else. I can't remember their name. Yeah. Apparently they had like some fake trailers in this double feature thing that they created.
Yeah.
And the Thanksgiving was one of those fake trailers, and a lot of people wanted Eli Roth to make it into a feature film. Like I said, this is way long time ago. So now he's finally actually making it into a feature film. But yeah, it was like cool. A fake trailer that he made back to, part of that feature. So for people who remember Grindhouse, you finally get to see this as a movie.
Yeah, dang, that's actually a cool story. I'm glad they're taking it to that level. Yeah, they need to do that same thing with the trailers from Tropic Thunder, because there was a series of trailers in front of that movie too. I think could be funny if they made just like comedic movies off of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, y'all, that's Thanksgiving. Again, the new Eli Roth slasher film coming to theaters on November 17th. Now, moving on, the next trailer that we got is a teaser trailer for a new Goosebumps series. And the synopsis reads, plunging viewers into a world of mystery and suspense, the new Goosebumps series follows a group of 5 high schoolers as they embark on a shadowy and twisted journey to investigate the tragic passing 3 decades earlier of a teen named Harold Biddle, while also unearthing dark secrets from their parents' past. Now, Goosebumps is set to debut across both Disney Plus and Hulu on Friday, October 13th. The 10-part series stars Justin Long and Rachel Harris, alongside newcomers Zach Morris, Issa Briones, Miles McKenna, Anna E. Puig, and Will Price. Now, this trailer is through and through definitely a teaser trailer to the max.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's not even. How long is this thing? Like it's 17 seconds. Like you get like snapshot glimpses. It's like a little montage glimpse at one point of different stuff that's going to happen in the show. I like the vibe. It looks very serious, which I like. I feel like it's going to be like kind of like a YA seriousness to it.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll be as dark in tone as the Midnight Club, but I think it'd be cool if it kind of went in that direction of vibe. I never watched the show, but I saw the trailers. I think were good, and I know you said the Midnight Club was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is interesting. I remember only remember the old Goosebumps series. I don't know if they ever had another Goosebumps series since then.
I think they did, but I feel like they did.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the old one though. I was watching that when I was a kid. So if they can somehow capture the essence of that and then modernize it for a new generation while still having, jokes and storylines that can appeal to adults as well, I think that'd be really cool. And I love pretty much anything Justin Long is in, so that's cool too.
Absolutely,
But yeah, what do you think about this trailer?
Oh yeah, I mean, like you said, it's super short, but it's still exciting news. There were a few images taken from the thing that I saved, so you can look at those later. But I thought it looks really interesting. I think it does have the same kind of vibe as Midnight Club, but maybe not as dark as you said. So I think it'll still be a good watch for, younger kids. I might actually enjoy it myself. So, I mean, I want to check it out because I'm a Goosebumps fan. So I'm excited to see what kind of stories they come up with.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a talent to be able to like balance, like being able to, have a movie that's accessible to both like children and adults. Like there's something in it for both viewers and both those age groups. This isn't a horror film, but when the new Ninja Turtle movie Mutant Mayhem came to theaters, I took our 7-year-old son to watch it, and I found myself cracking up at the movie because I feel like there were jokes within it that were definitely aimed at the adults of the family, so to speak. So there's definitely a way to ride that balance and be able to appease both the adults and the children. So maybe they can somehow pull that off. But yeah, I think it looks good, y'all. A new Goosebumps series, and it's coming on Friday the 13th in October on Disney Plus and Hulu. Hell yeah. Perfect time for Halloween, y'all. And I feel like our Halloween list of like our watch list for October is getting like bigger and bigger every day.
Yeah.
All these surprise announcements. Oh yeah, it's just coming in October. I'm like, damn, this list is getting a little long, y'all.
Yeah.
But moving on to another trailer. This one was like a super cool surprise, y'all. It's for a film called No One Will Save You. Now, No One Will Save You is a face-off between Bryn, and a host of extraterrestrial beings who threaten her future while forcing her to deal with her past. It's being written and directed by Brian Duffield. He was a writer on Underwater, Babysitter, and Love and Monsters, and directed a film called Spontaneous. And it releases on Hulu on September 22nd. Now, I did do a reaction video to this over on the YouTube channel. You can definitely check that out. But it was cool because this was a cool experience because I was on YouTube. I just watched the Exorcist Believer trailer. And then I saw the thumbnail for this pop up in my recommended. And I was like, oh, what is that? It kind of the thumbnail had the appeal of a horror film. So I clicked it and I read the description before I watched it. And I was like, oh, it was basically like an extraterrestrial, like home invasion film was the vibe the description was giving off. And I was like, what the fuck? I was thinking like stuff like Panic Room. Remember Panic Room, babe? I don't remember that.
I remember that.
But with aliens as the people breaking in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought the trailer looked really good. I was like, what? Where did this film come from? It's coming from, 20th Century Studios, dropping on Hulu as a Hulu original. And it just looks super creative. The concept is really cool. I like the idea I like any film's got alien invasions, but the way they're handling this one with like a 10 Cloverfield Lane, where obviously there's an alien invasion around the world, but we're focusing on this one character and their experience. And she's trying to survive this night in her house where aliens are trying to break in. And, in the trailer, it looked like they might have been, like doing something to their minds, like mind control. I don't know. Or maybe they're trying to abduct her, but I thought it looked good. What would you think, though?
Yes, I thought it looked really interesting. The way that the aliens looked, like the overall like music that they used in the trailer.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like it's going to be a very tense ride. So, for that reason, I don't know if I'm going to be watching it.
It's going to be intense. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yeah, but no, I do want to check it out. I'm not a big fan of alien movies, only because I feel like, I don't know about everyone else listening, but I do kind of believe in aliens. So
they out there. The truth is out there.
I personally find the alien movies to be quite scary because they feel like they could be real.
Mm-hmm. The Fourth Con?
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring that up because that's a scary movie.
It was creepy because it felt
very real.
Anyways,
the fact that this is a surprise to you lets me know that you do not watch my videos because I talked about this movie in my September upcoming releases.
Well,
so now I know.
It.
Nope.
I dismissed it somehow.
I know. Now I know.
Yeah, look, you listed a lot of films. I just can't remember them all. You know what I'm saying? I can't remember them all.
Yeah, but no. I do want to watch this though. I'll be watching this during the day.
Oh yeah, this looks good, y'all. I'm excited for this one. This has gotten put on the list. But again, check out that trailer and check out the reaction that we have on YouTube. Again, it's called No One Will Save You, coming to Hulu on September 22nd. And that, y'all, actually wraps up our trailers portion of the podcast. Now we're going to jump into all the good horror news that dropped this week. Starting us off is some new images and poster for Saw 10. Now, the image that they released is actually a new image of Amanda's character, and she's, of course, got the iconic pig mask sitting kind of on top of her head, so you can see Amanda's face, but the pig mask is halfway off of her head. So that was I thought that was like just a kind of whatever image, like it was cool. I think I was just more. I mean, I guess there's no point to save budget, but since she looks older, but this film's supposed to take place during Saw 1 and 2. I guess they're like, fuck it. Like, we ain't about to waste money on de-aging. Like, just roll with it,
Yeah.
But so it was a fine image. I don't think that really did anything for me. Now, along with this image, they also released a new poster. Now, this is where things get interesting, y'all. So this new poster has like a saw that almost looks like a Mayan calendar vibe. And it features like kind of like insignias and emblems that represent the different films of the Saw franchise, with Jigsaw's face in the middle. And it's got a tagline on the poster that reads, "The 10th chapter cuts through time." And a lot of people online are wondering, well, what does that mean? Because it can kind of imply, in my eyes, one of two things. Either it's just referencing the fact that this film takes place during Saw 1 and 2, something of that nature, or are we going to actually get something related to time, or is it just indicating just wrapping up the story, like connective pieces? Like, what are your thoughts on that, babe, on this poster?
I think I'm leaning more towards your first assumption, because it's the 10th movie, but it really takes place earlier on, so that could be like the cut through time. So that's what I'm thinking personally. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that too, because I don't think it would just fit the Saw franchise to do some wild shit like time travel or something weird like that.
Right. Yeah.
I think it'd be so unexpected that it'd be kind of cool, because you just wouldn't see that shit coming at all. But it definitely doesn't really fit the franchise. So I think it's just an homage to all the films, and it's saying that maybe this film has some components to it that connect everything in the larger story across all films.
That's possible too, yeah. Because that's the type of games Jigsaw plays, right? They always have something bigger, connecting it. So it could be a big piece as well.
Yep. No, I agree 100%. But to our viewers and our listeners, what do y'all think the poster means? Drop down in the comments below your thoughts. Now, moving on to the next news story we got. Now, this is the one that's all about all these damn nursery rhyme films that are coming out. So off rip, the first one that we got news of, this new one, is for Mary Had a Little Lamb. A horror movie about Mary Had a Little Lamb is coming. Now, I personally did not watch the trailer, but I did see the images, and it looks like Mary's Little Lamb is going on a rampage. It is a slasher film. I don't know what happened on the farm, but Mary did something, and he popping off. Or the lamb's going ham. But it's another one of these movies that's using just like a kind of like cheap looking mask, in the vein of Winnie the Pooh and stuff like that. I think Winnie the Pooh started all this. I'm telling you that right now.
It definitely did.
They have these regular goofy looking masks, and now everyone's just like, that's what we're doing. But yeah, I didn't watch the trailer, but if you look at the images, it's literally just like a bloody lamb mask, but it's a human body. And that lamb has a hatchet, and the lamb's going ham.
The lamb's going ham.
The lamb is going ham. Now, I don't think you watched it. I don't think you watched the trailer either, baby.
No, I didn't.
What are your thoughts on this?
I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know what the words are for this, but it's definitely interesting. I mean, I'm not sure like the mindset or thought process and
Yeah.
it takes into, putting these things together. Like why choose this nursery rhyme for
Yeah.
this slasher film? I guess I'm just trying to figure out what the purpose behind it is, or maybe just not. It's just wild, crazy fun. It's just, a way to create a slasher film and it still be gimmicky. I don't know what the word would be to explain any
Yeah.
of this,
Like
but
that cheesy, campy comedy
yeah.
slasher.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I mean, I definitely wouldn't take any of these films seriously. But I mean, if you just want to, throw on a good slasher and not really have to think about something for an hour and a half, I don't see any problems with it.
Yeah. Now, let me give you all the synopsis for this film. So, the synopsis for Mary Had a Little Lamb reads: a radio host and her crew set out to discover the truth behind some disappearances for a true crime show. They will soon learn that there is far more to discover when they meet Mary and her lamb, who will make it out alive of this house of horrors.
Okay,
And
so
it's being
there's
directed.
two people, not just a lamb. There's a Mary and her. You said Mary and her lamb. So there's going to be
Oh,
two
like two
characters.
killers.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. I guess, yeah, like maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what that one image is on Bloody Disgusting too, where I'm assuming that's Mary and the lamb
Gotcha.
behind her, potentially.
Gotcha, okay.
But yeah, it's being directed by visual effects artist and animator Jason Arbor, and it's coming to VOD and physical release on October 3rd. Now, the second film that we got that's, a nursery rhyme turned horror movie is for Three Blind Mice. So Three Blind Mice is getting a horror movie, y'all. And this one is releasing on VOD and physical release on October 17th. And synopsis for Three Blind Mice reads: Abby's going cold turkey. Her family has taken her to a cabin in the woods so she can be away from the city and all her troubles. However, little do they know, the Three Blind Mice is more than just a fairy tale, and they may be next up on the menu. And
Wow.
both films are actually coming from the production studio Uncork Entertainment. So it looks like they're the ones producing a lot of these nursery rhyme films. But I also did not watch the trailer for this either. But the images that were posted on Bloody Disgusting, none of them really featured the blind mice very often. There's only like two. So it's hard to really get an idea of like what they would look like. All the other images look like it's of the same character just bloodied up. But it looks like it'll just be another like stalker slasher type film. And I'm sure it'll be in that kind of same vein potentially of this kind of campy, just like fun slasher film.
Yeah.
But yeah, what were your thoughts when you heard about Three Blind Mice?
Yeah, same thing. It's just a very interesting thing to me.
Right.
Yeah. I guess these are probably easy things to make as well, right? Like
I'm
easy
sure.
films to make. Especially with slashers. I mean, it's not like a whole lot of extra you have to do, right? Except maybe like make blood look real or whatever. But I feel like that's pretty simple in today's time to do. So I feel like these are probably easy films to make. And we can kind of see that when they're releasing two films in the same month in the same production studio. So they're able to just throw these out.
Just pumping them out. They're going to cover every they're going to cover every nursery rhyme they can. All of them.
So that's
I'm
my
waiting for the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star one. That's going to be the alien one. Now that could actually go hard. I ain't gonna lie.
You are crazy.
That could actually, there might be something to that right there. I just gave them an idea, but just saying. But yeah, y'all, if you like those types of movies, just the fun, campy slasher film, be on the lookout for those when they release, because they might be right up your alley. Now, moving on to our next news story here. This is all about the Crow reboot. This is coming from Lionsgate because they just tied up an 8-figure deal for domestic rights to The Crow for the reboot. It's going to star Bill Skarsgård and singer-songwriter FKA Twigs and Danny Huston. It's being directed by Rupert Sanders, who did Snow White and the Huntsman. And if you're not familiar with The Crow, let me go and read this synopsis real quick. In the original revenge thriller, a man who's brutally murdered comes back to life as an undead avenger of his and his fiance's deaths. The script for the reboot is coming from Oscar nominee Zach Balan, who did King Richard, and Will Schneider. Now, a little quote from the article, which is coming from Deadline. According to producers, quote, the original film left an inedible mark on our culture that lives on. We are thrilled to bring a new adaptation for today's audiences that respects his legacy. Rupert has masterfully brought new dimensions to create a contemporary universe for this timeless saga of undying love, and we can't wait to share this vision with film audiences. So I thought this was cool. I like the people that are attached to it. I think it has the potential to, be interesting. I feel like The Crow is definitely one of those cult classic type of films.
Yes, very much so.
Of course, a lot of tragedy centered around the film as well. But with Bruce Lee's son Brandon Lee, may he rest in peace. But I think this is interesting. They're going to reboot everything as they've been doing. But I think this has potential to be good. What were your thoughts when you heard this, Bay?
Yes. Well, I will say I was hesitant at first, just because, there's some films that you kind of don't want to be touched, I think. And I feel like The Crow is one of those films. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people have said this. So, and I kind of agree. But like you were saying, you like the people that are involved and attached to the film. And just kind of like reading that article, I feel like they will treat it with like the care that it deserves, which is important, I think, with things like this. Because, sometimes, for example, like the Pope's Exorcist, the actual Pope, the exorcist that this story was about, Father Amorth, like he felt like he wanted certain things to, about his life story to be told, and those things weren't told. And I feel like maybe they did not handle his story with the care that it deserved. So I feel like this will be the opposite of that. It kind of seems like they will.
Right.
And then I really like Bill Skarsgård. He's excellent a great actor. Yes, he's a very good actor. I'm not familiar with the other people, but I do know that I feel like if he signs on to a project, he must feel strongly about it.
Yeah.
Just from the different things I've read about him, I feel like, he has that type of mentality and he approaches projects. So I feel like he wouldn't sign on for something that he felt like wasn't going to be done right. So
especially for like The Crow.
Give him the green light. Yeah, exactly. Yep. So hopefully it's good. I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah, definitely fingers crossed on this one. This will come out well done. Definitely, this is a film you definitely got to respect the original with this one here, but hopefully they can do it really well. And that's a film that I think they are they airing a release date at all? I don't think I saw in the article date? Or not. Is it like a next year? Yeah.
That didn't say.
Yeah, so there's no release window for this yet, y'all, but we'll be on the lookout and keep y'all updated. Now, moving on to our last news story of the week. This is all about the new Strangers trilogy that's coming in 2024. Now, keeping on the same production studio of Lionsgate, it's actually Lionsgate that's going to be releasing this new trilogy of movies that are based on the 2008 movie The Strangers and the 2018's The Strangers Prey at Night. According to Twitter, the first look of is it? Now, this is where I kind of got confused in the article. It says a trilogy of films, but just the first one is going to be shown at New York Comic Con.
They said they're going to give a first look. I don't think they're going to show the actual film. I don't think.
No, I meant because the way the article was written, y'all, it sounded like all three films were going to release in 2024.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
They are going to release all three films next year.
Now, I guess the first look at this trilogy is going to happen at New York Comic Con on October 12th. Now, the trilogy is being directed by Renny Harlin, who worked on Deep Blue Sea, Exorcist: The Beginning, The Misfits, and a bunch of other films. It's being written by Alan R. Cohen and Alan Friedland, who worked on The Freak Brothers and Due Date. And I think that this has the potential to be really good. I feel like The Strangers is a formula that can be easily rebooted. And I'm curious about the trilogy part Like I'm trying to figure out like how are you making The Strangers a trilogy?
Yeah.
And is it going to become like, oh, they're chasing the same people for 3 movies? Like I'm trying to figure out how you how you create a whole lore around The Strangers to end up creating a whole trilogy. I'm very curious of what their plan is for that. Yeah. But if all 3 films release in 2024, like I think that's a very interesting concept. I'm really wondering from like a business aspect, like how that's going to play out for them. If that will increase interest. It kind of reminds me of like the Fear Street movies on Netflix. Yeah. There was 3 of those, and they released like I think week after week or something like that. Like 1 week, the part 1 came out, then either like a week or 2 later, or there's some pretty short window of time the second film released. So I wonder if they'll take an approach like that, and that could be kind of cool because I like that Fear Street trilogy. I think that worked pretty good.
Yeah, it did.
But yeah, I mean, this is interesting. But what do you think about this news, babe, when you heard about the Stranger trilogy that's coming out next year?
Yeah, I'm with you on the trilogy aspect. I guess I'm hung up on that as well. And I'm also hung up on the fact of why does everything have to be a trilogy? I feel like every time someone comes out with something, they got to make it a trilogy.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I really liked the Strangers. I don't remember watching the second one. So I don't really have any, I don't really know what that one was about. So I don't know. I guess I'll have to see like some more information about it. So yeah. I'll be following the Twitter for the Comic-Con so I can figure out what details they drop.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get more details on that on October 12th, y'all. So make sure you're following us on YouTube or subscribed. And also following our audio podcast on Spotify, Apple, because you're going to want to hear about this news because this has potential to be at least somewhat decent. But we're definitely curious. But that, y'all, wraps up our news portion of this podcast. And now we're going to jump into the main topic, y'all. I'm super excited for this discussion, y'all. Make sure y'all stay tuned. This is going to be a good one. And this is our spoiler review of The Nun 2. All right, y'all. So for our spoiler review of The Nun 2, this is kind of how we're going to break it down. First, we're going to give you an overview of the film, kind of like just a recap of what played out in the movie. And then we're going to jump into what we liked and what we didn't like. And then we're going to give a rating for the film. And our rating system works as an out of 5 rating. So you'll get our rating on this film. And now before I start, I did want to mention up front, y'all, that we do have a Conjuring ranked video over on our YouTube channel. Make sure you check that out because we rewatched the entire Conjuring universe in preparation for this film, and then we ranked and reviewed all of them in one incredible video. So make sure you go check that out over on our YouTube channel. And I feel like I'm glad that we did because I feel like that really prepped us going into The Nun 2, so everything was fresh in our mind, and then we could roll into it. But yeah, y'all. So with that, we'll go ahead and start off with the overview. Now, the film kind of starts off with Sister Irene, and she's now hidden away in Italy, where she's made a new friend, a nun named Sister Deborah, and that's the nun that's played by Storm Reed. Now, and I saw you in the notes where you didn't know what to call them either. The like head Vatican, head Vatican like bishops or something like that, cardinal, whatever it's called.
His name, I just don't remember what they said.
Yeah, he was. I believe he was in the first nun as well.
Yeah,
and I don't remember what his title or his name was. But this person from the Vatican comes to the convent, and he comes to see Sister Irene because there may have been some murders within the church. And he knows that the demon that she defeated before has returned. And Father Burke is dead, which that was a little drop in that conversation. She's like, hey, like, why don't you just get Father Burke to come do this? Nah, he died. I forgot what they said he died of. But now she's the only one that can investigate because she's the one that got the experience with the demon. Now, Now, Sister Deborah tags along, and they start with the most recent murder that was shown in the opening scene of the film, where the priest was burned alive by Valak. They end up getting the priest's rosary beads from the boy who was a witness, and that gets him to go to a guy in the Vatican records and who tells them all the lore and background about Saint Lucy, who was treated as a witch and burned, but she couldn't burn. So they took out her eyes, and her eyes are what Valak is looking for to possess the power within them. Now, they end up discovering that the eyes are at the school that Frenchie is working at, and he has been exhibiting very weird behavior, and he was also linked to the being at the priest's murder. And Sister Irene pieces that together, that Valak has hitched a ride with Frenchie. Now, the film, towards the end, we end up with a battle for Frenchie's soul and to defeat Valak using the relic. But Valak ends up taking that relic and consuming it and getting powered up. And, Valak kind of finessed Irene, thinking that, Frenchie was dead, and ended up securing the relic and getting supercharged. Now, they eventually do end up defeating Valak using their faith and prayer, utilizing the wine and turning it into, the blood of Jesus Christ, the body of the blood.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it.
Because it's so dumb. I'm sorry. Now, we do end up getting a mid-credit scene that shows the Warrens answering a call from Father Gordon, and Ed says, "How can we help?" And that is pretty much like a very, quick rundown of the film. Now we can jump into what we liked and what we didn't like. And we'll start off, we're going to break it down section by section, y'all, to kind of like organize the review for y'all. And so the sections we'll be looking at are performances, the story, the technical aspects, like the overall look, the camera work, the scares, and then we'll wrap it up with the sound design and then lead into our score and rating. So we'll start off with performances. So I just got done talking a lot, Bass. I'm going to give you the opportunity to go first and let us know what you liked and didn't like about the performances.
All right. Yeah. So overall, I thought that the performances were much better in this film versus the first one.
Yeah.
Frenchie, very consistent. I thought he was excellent in The Nun. I thought he was excellent in this film as well. I think he portrayed, someone who was battling himself very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think him in that little relationship that he had with the little girl Sophie was so sweet and genuine, mm-hmm. and I think it came across very, very well. So I thought he did excellent again, mm-hmm. and. Sister Irene, she did better this time. We talked about her before. I didn't think she seemed very scared or anything like that in the first film, but I thought she did a much better job this time.
Yeah.
I think my favorite scene for her was when she was being burned. Like I felt like she was being burned.
Yeah, that was good.
That was a really good scene for her. Sister Deborah. I didn't see the point. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're doing what I liked. Okay.
Yeah.
I like Storm Reid as a person, like as an actress.
Yeah.
Okay. What I didn't like, I didn't think she did good in this film. And I honestly don't see what the purpose of her role was.
Yep.
When she was talking, when like Sister Irene and her were talking, I felt like some of those conversations were pointless. A lot of times she was just, well, what do you think about this? Or what, she was just like, there is like a little parrot, really. I don't know. I didn't see any point of her being in this movie at all. I know that they were kind of trying to create some depth for their characters. Like in the beginning, they were kind of connecting over their mothers and how they lost their moms.
But it was like super brief, though.
It was dumb brief. It was like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So you don't really get. I don't feel like you had a chance to connect with Sister Deborah. So therefore, I didn't really feel any sort of attachment to her throughout the rest of the film.
Right.
So that's what I have to say. Oh, wait. Sophie did a great job, the little girl.
Yeah.
the one kid in the beginning, the Zach kid, I was cracking up when the father was like, go get the wine. He was like, why don't you go get the wine? He was like,
yeah,
what?
I did like
He was
that.
like,
That was
nothing.
pretty good. Yeah, that was actually, I did like that. That was cool.
And then obviously Valak, she is in full force, all her glory in this film. We had talked about a while back when a couple episodes way back actually, about Valak being like a modern icon. And I feel like this movie kind of made me see her differently.
Yeah.
She was very menacing, very scary looking.
Yep.
And even though, she doesn't really talk. Like the only time she talked was when she was inside of Frenchie. And that was
she talked
like
through Frenchie.
a line
That
or
was
two
it.
line or whatever.
Yep.
So she has a lot of screen presence that's very, powerful, and you feel her power.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I don't know her full name, Bonnie
Aarons, I believe.
Aarons, yes, she did an excellent job, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Like playing this character, not talking, and just basically staring and opening her mouth.
It's all like energy and
yeah. So she does an excellent job with that, and I would actually like to get some Nun merch now.
Yeah.
Well, those are my thoughts on performances. What about you?
Yeah, no, Bonnie Aarons killed it. Like I loved Valak in this film. Like this version of Valak is kind of what I was hoping, expecting for when the first Nun came out. Because Valak is just super dope, like in this movie, and that made me just really like that character even more. So Bonnie Aarons did great with that. Like you said, Valak was just super, like creepy, like just peeping around the corner. Like all the elements around Valak was just dope. And I agree. Like I think Taissa Farmiga did okay in this film, at least a lot better than the first Nun. There were still moments where I was kind of like I don't really like the delivery of that. But I think it was an improvement over the first film. I agree with you that Maurice's character, that actor killed it in that role. That was a great performance. Like I took notes as well. I was watching the film and even put in there that I thought like he was playing a possessed person really good. Like especially when like Valak like kind of fully took over and he was like walking like real menacing, like just going ham. You know what I'm saying? Like that was like damn, like he playing this part.
Yeah.
I thought all the different children throughout the film did a good job of acting. I feel like a lot, man. Sometimes these child actors be acting better than the adults a lot of times. But I agree with you about the Storm Reed, Deborah character. I said that in my non-spoiler review too. That I was like, man, like they just kind of wasted that character.
Yeah.
Like she really had nothing to do. She was just there to serve as a person to dump the information onto. Like she was essentially like the audience member. Yeah. And like so when Sister Army would tell her stuff, it was like we're her receiving this information. There's an opportunity for them to just dump a bunch of shit out, dump the story out to somebody. Which is unfortunate because it just made that character feel like a waste. And I feel like they could have utilized Storm a lot better.
Yeah.
She served nothing more than just an exposition dump and just screaming and running.
Yep.
So yeah, that was a very disappointing one. But that's pretty much kind of where I fall in performances. Now we'll move on, y'all, to talking all about the story. So I'll go first on this one. And I like the story overall. I think the story is actually really good, 1,000 times better than the first Nun story. I like the idea that Valak is searching for something to gain power. I think that creates the opportunity to do a lot of cool things with scares and torture and kills and lore expansion, because when people are searching for things and getting clues, you naturally get to meet different people and end up in different areas and different situations. So it has the opportunity to allow you to get creative. So I like the overall main story. And I definitely like the expanded lore now with like the descendants of St. Lucy. And like they're the ones that have this, ability to have visions. And it makes me wonder if, Lorraine is like, one of these descendants because she's got similar visions and things like that. And I wonder if that's kind of
that's what they were pointing at, right?
Huh?
I think that's what they were pointing at or alluding to.
Yes, I was thinking too.
That one scene where she's not burning, and then you see her face, and it flashes to Lorraine's face.
Oh, it did? Okay, I might not have caught the Lorraine face.
Oh yeah, when she's having the memories of her mother.
Yeah.
In that one part where she's, when Valix got her up in the air and tried to burn her and stuff like that. There's a scene where it flashes to her mom and she says, "You have my eyes." And then you see her face, and then you see Lorraine's face flashes, and then it goes back to her face.
Yeah, so I mean, like that right there, I think is cool because I feel like that's just adding a new layer to the Conjuring universe, and almost making it like giving it like some comic book anime elements, which is really cool to me. And with that, I thought the third act of this film was just dope as hell. Like that shit went full anime, like the whole flow of Valak getting supercharged. And we'll speak about camera work and stuff later, but I just like how it all played out. I even liked how they defeated Valak. I actually like how they defeated Valak in this film more than the first one, because this one actually utilized faith and praying. Whereas the other film was just the blood of Jesus spit on Valak's face. I don't know, this one. It's not as good as, obviously The Conjuring and how they be doing the prayers and the exorcism, but at least this film kind of was in that same lane. But yeah, I think the story in this is good. We'll talk about, I don't know where to place this, but like there's points in the story where the pacing is kind of janky. And that's because of how they deliver the information, dumping it all into the Deborah character. But yeah, I genuinely like the story in this. I liked all the different concepts that they had. Even if they weren't perfectly executed, I liked all the overall. What do you think about the story, Beth?
Well, I personally didn't feel like the story was strong enough to make a whole movie about it. I thought there was pieces that were interesting, like the lore, like you were talking about with the descendants in the background. I think I wanted a little bit more of that. I think there wasn't enough of the background information, of the background story to Valak's background story. And because of that, I would have to say I don't really like the overall plot. And then too, it seems kind of weird that, she's supposed to be looking for this relic and she's killed some of these priests. But then at the end, when she's at this school, she's like killing kids. And I'm like, well, what do these kids have to do with the relic? I don't know. Some of the writing didn't make complete sense to me.
Yeah, I agree with that part. Yeah.
Yeah. So, there's that. But I do like the lore. I just wish there was a little bit more of that. I want a little bit more of the story.
Yeah, because we didn't even get to learn. We didn't learn exactly what the relic even did.
I didn't understand that at all. Yeah. I was like, well, how does this work? How did the power get in her eyes? I wrote something else. I said, I can't go back to my notes right now, but I was just like kind of confused about that. Like, I don't know. I just want some more information about that. So that kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah, and to piggyback off before you move on to your other comments, I wanted to say too on the other comment you made, that it was weird that like Valak, and I think I made a note of this too, maybe in my review. I don't know if I did or not, but it's in my notes that Valak is on a quest to find this relic, right? And he's killing off like St. Lucy descendants.
Yes.
I would assume that Valak would be interrogating them because Valak's trying to find this shit, right?
Yeah,
like she's right. I'm trying to get this relic. So, and I wish that there were moments where Valak's like interrogating these priests and shit, like, where's the relic, type shit. And then she's like going ham on them,
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to just kill them right away.
Killing them.
Like, how did she end up at the school? You know what I'm saying? How did we get there? And that was an issue too for me. I feel like a lot of this movie was like chopped up sequences and then put together. Like, I don't know, we just went from like a block to another block to another block to another block. I don't feel like it was really cohesive storytelling. It's just like we just went from one thing to the next. And it almost seemed like there were, I don't know, moments where there was just too much divisiveness. Like I just couldn't get with it. I don't know. The overall flow for me, it just seemed like two separate movies for a good portion of the time. Yeah. There wasn't a really good flow. And then, you know, obviously that last part, which is where everyone's kind of like in the same place, does make a little bit more sense. But that first hour, 10 minutes, I don't know. It's just, I wasn't feeling it.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm wondering if I'm actually wondering like how much of the film was cut out. Like if there was more that they could have added to help, you know,
because I feel like there's a lot of missing pieces. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Because I didn't necessarily feel that way, but I could see where you're coming from with it for sure.
Yeah.
Nope. Now
I can give you an example. Let me give you. I'm sorry. Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Okay. So, earlier on in the movie, you know, we have Sister Irene. She's at this she's at this convent, you know, with these people in Italy, right? So she's there, and then she's listening to these women tell the story, her story, basically.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And which is cool. I did like that.
You did?
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Okay, why did you like that? Because I did not like that scene.
Really? I actually liked that scene because I felt like it was very realistic. Because people always be you know, gossiping about stuff.
Yes, people gossip about stuff, but I also feel like a lot of times in this movie, they were like, you know, go back to what happened in the first one, but I feel like they did it too much. Now, maybe if they had just stopped with this part, I might have been okay with it, but it was like a lot of that. And this one, I felt like was a little bit too long. Like she told this whole long litany of what this girl had gone through. And it was basically just a play-by-play of the nun. I don't know. I didn't personally like it.
To me, it was like it felt like a creative way to recap what happened in the first movie without having a literal direct montage in the beginning of the movie that's narrated.
Yeah, but they still had montages.
Which montages?
It wasn't long ones, but it was a lot of times where they showed scenes from the first movie.
Like what scenes? Because I honestly don't remember outside of that initial one where she's just telling the story.
When they showed Frenchie getting the snake from the nun.
Oh, okay, yeah, there was that flashback. Oh, yeah,
they showed her in the water
because she was remembering. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but it was quite a few of those flashbacks. Okay. Anyways, I done lost my train of thought now. Go ahead. What's the next thing? Let's just move on.
No, you got a great point with the callbacks. I think I didn't mind them because I felt like it fit within the context of like in that instance where she was remembering like, oh, that's right, when he came back for me, da 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 da, and then the flashback of the snake on the mouth. It's like, yeah, that did happen like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I was cool with that. But yeah, I definitely see some of the other elements of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Now,
and we're still talking about plot, right? And story.
Yeah, it was story. Yep.
Okay, cool. So, what I feel like, a lot of times we have some of the similar, like what do you call like horror movie tropes. Now, this one with the three girls, I was like, this is just like Annabelle creation all over again. Because, you know, in that movie, there was like the set of three girls who were kind of like bullying the other girl. And it was the same thing here too. Like the sure mean girls.
Because basically it creates the opportunity for like a character to get isolated because of these characters. Like, exactly. Oh, we're daring you to go in that house over there type of thing, you know? You see that in like so many horror movies.
Yeah, exactly. I think that was the only thing I wanted to mention about that.
Yeah. Now the next topic we're going to talk about for what we liked and didn't like is the technical aspects of the film, like cinematography, kind of the overall look, the visuals, the colors, the camera work, anything that relates to those type of categories. And so I'll let you go first, man.
Yeah. So, well, I'll start with camera work. I thought that there was one scene that really I thought was really well done, and that was near the end when Sophie was on that wooden thing that was like falling,
mm-hmm.
and then how like the camera kind of like fell with her. It kind of reminded me of a scene from like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom or something like that. But I thought that was like my favorite scene, I think. Well, example of really good camera work. Just the way that looked. It felt like we were falling too.
Yeah.
So I really liked that. The overall look I thought was good. It definitely had that vintage feel, and then the vintage style, like coloration as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like that. Not sure what the color would be, but kind of like that neutral tint.
Yeah.
I personally would have liked to see more. I don't know. I guess more. I like the way that the first Nun kind of looked compared to this one, only because I feel like it fits the Valak vibe a little bit more, like that darkness, the two tones between the dark and the light. Even like the darker areas in the film, I felt like there wasn't enough contrast. I don't know how to explain it. I know what I'm thinking in my mind, but I don't know. That's just me. That's a personal thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it still looked nice. I still think the film looked good.
Yep.
So yeah, that's just my own personal qualm.
Yeah. I thought this film looked great. I liked the way it looked, like the color usage. I like the use of the dark and Valak kind of like hanging out in the dark, and all you see is the eyes glowing. I thought that was super creepy, and I really liked that. I love the camera work. Like I said, that third act is like an anime, and one of my favorite parts in that film was when she did consume that relic, and like was going Super Saiyan essentially, and like so once the relic was consumed, there was this big ass shockwave behind Valak. It was like boom, and then like it went to like a hallway, and then it was like you saw the shockwave reverberate through the hallway, poof, and then it went outside and they showed the same shit, like that type of stuff. I was like, yo, this is literally like anime. This is fire. So a lot of those elements, especially in the third act, felt like anime type camera work, which I thought was super cool. And you already mentioned like the play on the dark. So those camera angles where you can see the nun in the background, you just see the eyes. I thought those were super well done. What else did I like? I mentioned the colors and all that. I thought the movie looked good. And I think partially because I did like the way the nun. I agree. I did like the way the nun one looked, but I just feel like the movie is so bad that it kind of brings everything around it down. But this movie, I like it so much better that naturally I just feel like, oh man, like this movie is just, leagues better in all aspects.
Yeah.
From the look, the colors, the camera work. But there was some great camera work too, like in some of the kills. I liked like a lot of the wide shots, like especially in the opening scene when the priest got set on fire. Some of the shots of when like that one headmistress got killed by the ghost son. Like there was just some in general like great shots that dealt with some of the scares and some of the like battle scenes. Mm-hmm. Some like great wide shots. But yeah, no, I think technical wise, I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Now the next topic we're going to talk about, I think is going to be a great topic here, is the scares. So, what scares did you like and not like there?
Okay, so I personally feel like they put their best scares in the trailer. So a lot of those scares, I felt I had already experienced them, so they weren't scary.
Mm-hmm.
Other than those, I think my favorite scare will probably be the first one with the priest.
Oh yeah, that
watching
was
her
hard.
come out of that steam, and then because a lot of the times when I will say a lot of the times my favorite scares are always going to be the ones where you see Valak, I think, because a lot of the times he would just let her appear, and it wasn't like a jump scare. It was just like 1 minute she's there. I mean, not there, and then the next second she is, and it's just like a, and I think it's a good using that steam kind of like makes that point across the board too, because it just kind of like appears. And so watching her come out the steam, and then it's like quiet and soft, and then you just see boom, and then like the air brushes, like the candles go out and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was a really, really, really good scene, a good opening scene too.
Yeah.
So that was my favorite one. I thought the things like the chapel when the little girl was in the chapel, when she got stuck in the chapel, I thought that was a good one. Saw that one flash of her face, and then it was gone. But yeah, I thought that was a good one too. But those are my favorite scares. And I kind of like the one with the little boy in the beginning too, kicking the ball. Just
that was kind of good. That felt like heavy because you couldn't see nothing, but you just knew something was there. So that was a very intense feeling. Like you could just feel the uneasiness of it. But yeah, I liked it. I like all the ones where like Valak's like lurking in the dark. Like them shits is hard. Yeah. I really like the one where like that one I think it was Sophie that got was it Sophie? Which girl got trapped in the inside where they found Maurice? Just like fucking either making those weird sounds, just standing there. Remember that?
When he was making weird sounds?
He was just literally just standing inside this empty hallway. And for some reason I'm blinking.
Mistress. There wasn't no kid there. Is that what you're talking about? When she
No. It was towards the beginning. It was towards the beginning of the film.
The beginning of the film.
And I can't remember which girl it was. It might have been Sophie. But I thought it wasn't.
He was standing in the hallway.
Yes.
What else happened?
He was like in the doorway. This is the part where like Valak's hand like came around the door frame and she kind of slid out and you see like half her face. It was real creepy looking. But Maurice is literally like Maurice's back was to the character and he was like making these weird sounds and they were like, Maurice, like, are you okay? And then you see like Valak like he like stops. You see Valak like kind of lean around and then the character starts running and then Valak's at the end of the hallway.
It's gotta be Sophie because I feel like she was the only kid that really was around him or interacted with him. Nobody else would have been like, "Are you okay?" to him. And for some reason, I don't remember this.
Yeah, that junk was creepy though. That junk was stupid creepy because she was right there. Then Valak was right there in the hallway. That junk was creepy. So I really like that one. Maybe it would help if you. I don't know if you remember the TV spot ad. Sometimes it showed on YouTube where the quotes were like, "Do you see her?" And one of them was like her peeking around the door frame. It was from that scene.
I remember that, yeah. But I don't, for some reason, I remember the rest of that.
Yeah, that one was really good though. I did really like that scare. Okay. I wouldn't necessarily call this a scare, but the sequence that followed the magazine scare was actually super dope. Like where we had that dude in the red cloak, no idea who that was. I wonder if that's someone important. I don't know. But it was like stabbing what I'm assuming is a St. Lucie person in the face. Mm-hmm. Like that shit was cool, man. That was like I felt like some weird artistic, like 80s type shit. And I was like, whoa, this sequence is cool. Even the colors were like real saturated. And I put in my notes specifically, I was like that sequence was so dope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I said, like that part that, getting a glimpse into what kind of links all this. I just wanted more of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good though. I do agree with it. That was good.
Yeah. Now one scare that I was super disappointed by was if you remember the trailers, they had that scene that was like one of the main scenes in the trailer where she looks through that vent.
Yeah.
And she's like looking with the flashlight around the room. And then she gets to the doorway, like Valak's just standing there in the doorway. But in the film, it was the headmistress back.
It was the lady, yeah.
And I was like, whoa, why did y'all switch this out? This is way less scary.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't even see her at all. Her back was turned.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like tucked back in. And they were like, oh, she's just standing there. And I was like, who decided to do this? Because that, to me, that scare was significantly lessened. And it wasn't even because like I knew, and even if the trailer was the same, I think it would have still been scarier. Because I think Valak herself is just a scarier looking image. But also just the back turn, dumb.
The back turn part was crazy. I think she probably should have been facing forward.
Yeah, I think that would have helped a little bit.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm assuming she appeared as that, right? Because it's based on the person, and they talked about that a lot, right? The different forms. So I guess it would make sense for her to have seen her as the headmistress versus Valak.
Yeah.
Because this girl probably didn't know who Valak was or had ever seen Valak in her form. So her fear probably was attached to this headmistress woman. So I agree that she should have been looked different or something.
Now there was
having
one
her back turn wasn't scary.
Yeah, no, that jump was stupid. There was one jump scare that got me, and it's kind of like an unfair jump scare, but it still made me like about jump out my seat. And that's when Sophie was in the hallway and she opened that door, and it was the Conjuring 2 hallway, the Warrens' house.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh yes, that did get me.
And then suddenly that like bird came. That jump was so loud and it was so sudden.
It was so loud.
I literally was like, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that was a cheap one. They got us on that one.
It was super cheap. But the way that scene ended, where the light came on, like that was actually really creepy. How Valak was literally just standing there looking at her, and then she like smiled. That was creepy. And then when the mom opened the door and the light hit, she kind of like faded into the wall.
Into the wall.
That was hard. That was like a super cool scene. I'm looking at my notes here too. Another thing that I mentioned in my notes was they added this like bone crunching sound to both Valak and that demon goat thing. I thought that sounded kind of creepy.
The bone crunching?
Yeah, like when Valak's hand wrap around or would go on someone's shoulder or something, they'd be like it was just weird. I liked it, but I didn't like it because it sounded all nasty. Right. And you know what I also mentioned? I thought the credits were like super creepy.
I loved the credits. It's funny because, everyone else got up but me. And so I was silently thinking to myself, maybe I should just leave. And then I'll just ask, AJ what happened in the mid-credit scene.
Because it was creepy.
Because it was so creepy. And I didn't want to be there by myself.
That joke was super creepy, man.
Yeah. But I did like the way they did it, though. It was super cool.
Yeah, it was like, I was like, man, whoever made these credits, like, this junk is kind of scary. They kept, they're keeping the vibe going even into the credits. It's definitely the creepiest credits in the whole Conjuring universe. I'm gonna tell you that right now. But yeah, I think that's all I got for scares. There was like other moments that I really liked that weren't as scary, like when Valak was, had the headmistress killed. It wasn't necessarily scary. I just think it was like messed up, but like in a good way. Because I was just like, dang, like Valak is just. I think it really showcased like just how menacing Valak is, like using her dead child to like end up killing her with the little Catholic thing. I was like, damn, like that's crazy.
I would like to know what the significance of the crows is. Do you know what that is? What that means? Because I wrote that down. Like, what's the significance of the crows? Because the crows seem to show up a lot in this movie.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it's just like a trying to signify evil type thing. I'm not really sure.
Okay, I didn't know if there was maybe like some deeper meaning that I may have missed or something like that.
Yeah, I also like that. I also like that goat thing.
I knew you would. I was like, I bet you he would like that thing.
Yeah, especially when that goat thing first appeared, and it started running towards that girl at the stairs, and Deborah was trying to get to her. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. She was flying.
So I like how
she got that door
too.
closed.
Yeah, she did. Yep.
Yeah, and then I mean, obviously it's not nice, but like the way they was that some girls was getting flung around the room.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of funny.
I was like, yo, Valak's going ham. He was just. I was like, good God. And that one girl got stabbed by the goat thing through the door too. That was crazy.
Yeah, that joke was crazy. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking, like, obviously she's an extremely powerful demon, right? So like when we look back at like Annabelle, for example, and the demon that was connected to her, and, how the Warrens had the priest come and pray like twice a month or something like that to keep the evil contained. And just think about that, right? And all the havoc that particular demon made. Right. And then you have the nun, and then in the first movie, you have these nuns praying all day long to keep this thing contained. Yeah. So that's how you know it's powerful as all know what.
Valak's no joke. I told y'all, man, Valak will be playing, man.
It's crazy.
But yeah, so that's the scare section, y'all. So the last section we're gonna jump into is the sound design / the score of the film. I thought it was pretty good. It's a lot of, like kind of the typical like violin type sounds and stuff like that. And for the score and for the sound design, I already mentioned earlier, like the little bone crunching sound that they use for both Frenchie when he was like getting all contorted. Also for Valak when she was, grabbing something, either a shoulder or a doorway or something. And then like the foot stomps from the goat thing. And then just like I just thought overall like the sound design was very effective. The only thing I was disappointed by was that weird monk chant thing from the Nun 1 wasn't in here. I was like, and I specifically wrote that in my notes. I think I was like halfway through the movie and I wrote down in my notes, there's no lie, y'all. I wrote down in my notes, the Nun 1 chant hasn't appeared yet in the film. I wonder if it's in here.
Sorry, baby. So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the sound design was good. There were some small details I thought that were really well done, like the one scene where they had when Sophie was being tricked by those girls to wait for the devil. And then you hear like, just the wind blowing and the leaves rustling. And I don't know. I feel like they did pay a lot of attention to like the small sounds, which I thought were really effective as well. Like you feel like you're in this old school or this old church in France.
Yeah.
So I agree with what you said. And then just that extra attention to like the small details, like the whistles and the minor background, noises. I thought those were really good.
Yeah, I thought those were good too. Like it's like the ambiance noises. Yes, especially when it's very quiet.
Yes,
like exactly. It was just it added to the eeriness, like the different creaks and things like that.
Yep, exactly what I was
super
trying to
effective.
Say. Yep.
And I thought the one moment that Frenchie did talk when Valak was possessing him was cool. Like, I like the way the voice sounded.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wish we got more of Valak talking. I think that would have been super hard.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was good.
Yeah. But
any extra things you want to talk about?
I literally just had a thought that I wanted to. This is what I wanted to bring up: the mid-credits scene.
Okay.
And I don't know if we talked about it yet in the earlier part there. But what do you think the mid-credits scene means? Do you think it's just a reference to, like The Conjuring 2, and that maybe like them getting a call in relation to a case? Or do you think this is actually potentially, leading into a new film, or maybe they're battling Valak again? What do you think?
Okay, well, I don't know, but I'm gonna hope that there's more to come, and that it is alluding to a future film, and where we can get some more of those connecting of the dots between the descendants, and then Lorraine. That's my hope. So I feel like that's mainly what the center of the film really is, right? Like uncovering this connection between Lorraine and Sister Irene and, those that came before them, and then their connection to Valak. So I'm hoping we'll get some, more. Maybe the actual story of them when they meet Frenchie later on. Because I don't think we ever got that full story. We just had clips of that, right? That's my hope. Fingers crossed.
That's actually a good point, because they do end up meeting him and exercising him.
Yes.
When she saw that where she got super affected.
Right. So maybe.
Which, when you think about it, I hadn't even thought about this. It's actually kind of sad, because it ended up done too. He sister, you saved my life. You thought he was good. You still ain't good, dude. Valak's still on your ass.
Yeah.
Because Valak don't play. Valak been killed 2 different times by the blood of Jesus and by the blood of Jesus again in the wine.
Yeah. And there was a lot more blood this time.
There was a lot more. Next is gonna be the body. It's gonna get him.
Oh my gosh, you are crazy. What do you think the end of the scene means?
I was actually just Googling it real quick, because I knew that there's another Conjuring movie coming out, which is Conjuring 4, and it's called The Last Rites.
Yes.
And there's a Screen Rant article which they're thinking that it has some sort of connection to the Conjuring 4. And I'm kind of under that same boat, that it's got a connection to whatever the next Conjuring film is, because I feel like if it was a callback to a previous film, they would have been a lot more specific. I think they would have referenced a very specific moment. But the fact that you just reminded me about them really encountering Maurice again and actually trying to exercise them themselves, and Lorraine having the horrific vision and stuff, I was like, oh, that could make for a good movie. I guess my only problem with that would be, I hope that they go crazy with it, because even though we get the glimpse of it in the projector video in the Warren classroom in the first film, I just hope that it doesn't lessen the effect of the story, if you get what I'm trying to say. Sometimes you when you already know how a movie's going to end, since it's a prequel, it's not as fun. I hope they just kind of ignore that and just go crazy with it, and let Valak just go ham again, because I like this Valak. If they're going to bring Valak back for this, which, if that's the route they're going, cool. If not, hey, that just means we're getting a whole new case and stories, opportunity to dive back into some Warren case files or whatever, and have just another good Conjuring film. But yeah, so. Any last thoughts from you? I gave my last thought, and that was at mid-credits. And you got any last thoughts?
Do I have any last thoughts? Well, not really. I don't think I have anything extra to add. I'm just making sure I'm checking my notes.
Yep, I'm looking over my notes right now as well, just to be sure.
I don't think I have really much else to add. I do want to say that I think Michael Chavez did a much better job with this film than he did with La Llorona and The Devil Made Do It. So, kudos to him. So maybe I don't know do you know who's directing the next one? Did they say that in that article you read about?
I don't think those details are out yet. Let me double check.
Well, if he was trusted to continue the process, I would not be mad, because at first I was like, oh no, how he gonna do this? Because he dropped the ball the first 2 times, but
right.
I think he did much better with this film than the previous 2. So
yeah, I agree 100%. I think that I don't really know all the films that he's directed, but I think it does show that he's getting better.
Mm-hmm.
And that just makes me more excited, because maybe as he gets better, we'll get maybe even films outside of the Conjuring universe, where he can, flex his muscle with something even original or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that he did better, and I think they kind of did Valak justice with this movie better than The Nun 1. But yeah, I think overall, this is a decent movie. So with that, let's get into the ratings. I'm gonna let you go first.
So for me, I have to go with 2.5 out of 5.
Wow. You went ham.
I think for me, it's just that first hour and 10 minutes. Like, a lot of times I was kind of bored. I literally was yawning a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, I just feel like it wasn't very cohesive. The last, like we both agree, the last act was good. Even I've actually, I watched one other person review this movie too, and he said the same thing. That last act, yes, I know,
It's
last
hard.
act is good. It's so good, yes, but it doesn't. To me, it doesn't outweigh all the rest of what I found wrong with the rest.
The last act is so hard that it picks the movie up a lot. Like,
not for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't pick it up for me.
Yeah.
Because even in that last act, I don't know. I just feel they didn't get a complete package. I don't know. Either way, I'm 2.5 on that one.
Okay. I'm sitting at 3.25 for me.
Okay, you're not that far away from me.
At least I'm at 3, though. You know what I mean?
About halfway.
I thought this was decent. Like, I thought it was kind of. I thought that what it did good. It did very well, which helps bring it up. But there was like pacing issues, and I agree that there was moments where it was slow enough to where it was boring. And for me, it became like I can't wait till Valak gets back on screen.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. It was literally like trudging along, and then trudging along again, and it's like it was up and down a lot for me.
So I think what they got to do to fix it for if they do a Nun 3 is like just make the in between more interesting. Make those characters more interesting. Like, Deborah was super uninteresting. Sister Irene is still kind of uninteresting. Now that she's got these like St. Lucie powers essentially, and they're really like tapping into that, maybe they can make her more exciting and interesting. But I think that's kind of what the problem was, is like when Valak wasn't around, it just wasn't very
dry.
It was kind of dry. The Maurice moments with Sophie were kind of, like I said, they were kind of sweet and heartwarming.
They were sweet. But, they were cute.
For the most part, though, it was like I was waiting for Valak to get back because that's when the movie is going so hard.
By the way, side note, that girl, the teacher, she was the sister from Narnia.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Now I see it. Okay.
Oh, so you remember now?
I do remember now. Now that you pointed that out, I do remember. I didn't know who you were talking about before. Okay, I got you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was talking about the Sophie's mom.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay.
Well, at that time, she was just a teacher. I didn't really realize that she was her mom until afterwards. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so I'm gonna set a 3.25 for me. I
think it's funny because usually I'm much more graceful with my scoring. And then this time you gave a much higher score than I did.
Well, you don't know why? Because Valak was basically like fucking demon John Wick. Like Valak was going ham. And so I was just on board. I was like, damn, like this is kind of Valak I want. Like I want a Valak that's just gonna tear people out the frame.
Yeah.
And I was just brutal. Like when that headmistress was getting her ass whooped by that ghost kid, I was like, damn, this is hard.
Are crazy.
Because those hits were hard.
Yeah, they were
like
hard.
That last one was like I was like, golly. Like Valak is going ham.
Yeah. Also, I felt like there wasn't can you look up what they gave this R rating for? What was it for? Because if it's blood and gore, there was hardly any of that. Like that was probably the goriest scene, the bloodiest scene.
You're right. There wasn't really any gore in there.
And I was wondering if was that part of their rating decision or not?
It was rated R for violent content and some terror.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't in there.
Like
okay.
It was just the violence.
So I was like, dang, I wanted a little bit more
terror.
Bloodiness, which is weird for me, I think. But that was like the only scene that was bloody was that one with the headmistress.
So real quick, because I looked this up off of Rotten Tomatoes, I just wanted to point out the current ratings for this film on Rotten Tomatoes right now. For the critics side, with 83 reviews, is sitting at a 45%. But on the audience side, with 100 plus verified ratings, is sitting at 77%.
See, I'm riding the line with the critics, and you riding it with the audience.
Yeah, the audience is fucking with it because, like, I think a lot of people are just like, "Damn, like, Ballad is so hard." You know what I'm saying?
I think a lot of people are comparing it to the first film. Even other people have talked about it. They say, "Oh, yeah, it's way better than the first film."
It is.
But I'm looking at this as what it by itself as a standalone film. I just don't think it hits the mark.
Yeah.
Fully. It's like it's got some good parts, but those good parts to me don't outweigh the rest of it.
I feel like the good parts are so hard that it helps balance out the bad parts, like with the bad pacing issues.
Hey, we're not always going to agree. I like Insidious: The Red Door. You did not.
I don't know how you like that movie. That movie is terrible.
And I texted you from the theater. I was like, I can't believe you like this movie.
Yeah, you did. And I was like, I don't know how you didn't like it.
I was just so surprised. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think you forgot the first hour of the movie. You were just so focused on the last part. That's all.
Nah, because I remember scenes that you don't even remember. You don't even remember the whole scene where the girl walked into the park.
That must have been one of the ones where not at all. I was like, this.
You know what I'm saying? And Valley peeking around the door and then peering in the hallway, like that junk was crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But that's that.
But yeah, that's our rating for The Nun 2, y'all. If you've seen The Nun 2, drop down in the comments below what your rating for this film is, and let us know what you liked and what you didn't like, because we'd love to discuss that with y'all down in the comments. And as a reminder, like I said in the beginning of this main topic, the spoiler review for The Nun 2, don't forget we got a full Conjuring Universe ranked and reviewed video on our YouTube channel that is super dope. We rewatched all the films and then we ranked and reviewed them. So I'm kind of curious with our ratings for The Nun 2 where it's going to fall in our Conjuring Universe ranked. So we might do like a very short, small follow-up video just to let y'all know where this film will rank amongst our previous Conjuring Universe video. But make sure you check that video out because it's dope. But with that, y'all, that concludes today's episode of In Love with Horror. Thank y'all so much. You made this far for listening to the entire podcast. I know we had a great time discussing all the new trailers and news and talking about The Nun 2. I hope y'all had a great time listening to this discussion. Join the discussion in the comments, y'all. We'd love to talk with y'all on all the things from this episode of the podcast. Also, make sure that you are following us on all the social media channels, like our TikTok. We post a lot on there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel because we do a lot of reactions on the YouTube channel. And then subscribe on IG and just subscribe to us and follow us on everything. And then if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please do leave us a review. Yes, that does help boost the visibility. So it's easy. I was going there. You click the 5-star real quick. We'd greatly appreciate that. But with that, y'all, that concludes this episode of In Love with Horror. And we'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.